Begin transmission. This is Dungeon Radio Hour.
Hello and welcome, adventurers, to Dungeon Radio Hour, a D&D actual play comedy podcast where everyone loves clerics because they're the life of the party. As always, I'm your host and dungeon master, Dalton, rusher-riddle, joined once again by our ragtag band of would-be heroes. Introduce yourself, heroes.
I'm Michael Adair.
I'm Alyssa Adair.
And I'm Andrew Gerline.
Well, hello, everyone.
Man, did it feel
Hi,
good to say
guys.
that. Hi.
How are we
Hello,
doing?
guys.
We haven't said that in a few episodes. It feels
I know, we haven't done
weird.
an intro
I know,
in a while.
we haven't done an intro in
Huh.
a real long time. I bet everybody out there is like, where's my pre-show? Where is my...
For this one, they're probably pissed that we're doing one because of the way the previous one ended.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Now they're like, get to it. Get to the
But
story.
don't skip this. We worked hard on this intro, pre-show.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just for that, and because we're behind a couple episodes, this is nothing but a pre-show. This entire show is actually just
It's
a pre-show.
pre-show.
There is no plot. There is no story. So even if you
We-
skip ahead, it's still just going to be us bullshitting.
You're
Yep.
really going to
Right.
make us wait this out, Dalton.
It's the pre-show
Man.
show. Yeah.
Pre-show show.
Pre-show show.
The pre-show show. I like that. The pre-show show. Pre-show show.
The pre-show.
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 The pre-show show.
Okay. All right. All nonsense aside. that was a beautiful moment we all just shared. I want
Agreed.
everyone
Yes.
to realize that. So this is super random, but I was doing an interview for a job a couple of weeks ago. And like we went through all of the traditional questions, what's your experience like? How do you do well under pressure? What kind of
biggest
team
weakness.
player are you? Exactly. And then she was like, okay, now we're going to do some fun questions. And I'm like, okay.
Ooh.
And some of them were pretty off the wall, but one of them was, do you believe in ghosts? And I was like, well, yeah, answer, obviously, yes. And so then we talked about that for a little bit, but it wanted me to like bring that over into the pre-show. And so I feel like I know the answer for the three of you, but multifaceted question here. Do you believe in ghosts? Are there any like superstitions that you subscribe to? Do you have any encounters with the supernatural that you like have as a sword in your back pocket? Like, let's pretend that we are all sitting around a campfire and let's go.
Dang.
I
Cue
like
that
it.
campfire crackle. Wow, that's cozy.
Oh, we're-
Hear that?
Yeah.
I just assigned Alyssa a new sound effect to find.
Yeah, now I can
And
find
now, that sound before "Are You Afraid of the Dark," where it's like,
copyright.
Yeah, yes.
that's just one sound that can't copyright a noise. It's not allowed. Dude.
I just love when you guys throw out random ass sounds, and in the back of my head as we're recording, I'm like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to go find
You're
that
gonna have
sound
to
now."
find it.
Oh, what's
Like when-
that?
Now
When-
the entire movie, Cars 2, played on 150 times speed.
Well,
And it's over. Terrible, right?
Terrible. When Mike was coming back to life and Dalton was describing it, as much as I was happy, obviously, that we were bringing Mike back into the story, in the back of my head, I'm like, does it need so many steps? Does this need wind
does.
and then hooves and then galloping?
It's
and
my
then,
moment.
Also,
it's my
when
moment.
I listened to the rough draft, I didn't hear my string quartet, so I don't know what happened with that sound effect
That's
that I
fucked.
need to put back in.
How dare you do
I-
that?
The
to
live
Dalton,
orchestra,
After
Alyssa?
everything
Yeah.
he's done for you.
all right, I'll get
You
my
were
live
supposed to
orchestra
hire
out.
John Williams to compose the score for that. What
That's
happened?
right.
Really
We were going to pay him
should've.
15 shekels.
Yo-Yo Ma was gonna play whatever he plays.
I'm jumping. To answer your question,
Shallow.
kind of.
Kind of.
As far
okay.
as like ghosts and things, I don't know, because I was raised very religious, and
What religion?
that's your guess, but I grew up in the Bible Belt. So let's find
Buddhism.
out which one. So I grew up with a lot of
Suburban
stories,
Buddhist.
more about like demons, and so even to this day, like stuff that has demons in it, like horror films, like Paranormal Activities or some like weird demon-esque characters, really freak me out. Because I heard
sure.
plenty of stories, plenty of people growing up telling me, oh, that like the Ouija board piece moved and threw like across
Yeah,
the
everybody
floor.
has one of those stories.
Like-
I don't believe that.
It definitely scared me. I do have a story that I don't remember myself, but I've been told about my childhood, and I honestly don't know if I want to tell you because it's really creepy.
You should tell us.
Tell us. This is the time. We're getting creeped out.
If you don't want to talk
Together.
about your childhood, I don't want to talk about it either. So I feel like we're even.
Okay.
You can't blue ball the
If
audience.
the speaker's
like
not
that,
interested,
Melissa.
why would we?
Right.
But don't blame
true.
me if you can't sleep tonight. Okay? So this is a story that's been told to me by both my mother and my grandmother. I was too young to remember, but they've told me this story enough times that I do know it. So apparently when I was like 3 or 4, I had an imaginary friend. As you do. Every child like has a little imaginary friend. But I described my friend as a man, like an adult man who had a tail. And he would come and visit me. He would come, how he would like come into the room and like hang out with me is through the floor. So he would come up through the floor, go back down through the floor. That's how I would describe it to my parents. Yeah. And he had a strange tail, not like a fluffy tail. I called it a strange tail. And yeah, and he was a full grown man. I said he was very attractive, very nice, like very charismatic. I mean, I didn't say that word as a child, but like that's kind of the vibe I gave of this man.
I think you would have
So-
said he had Riz.
Yeah, he had Riz.
Riz is what
And-
that's
That's what
all
the kids
nowadays.
say, yeah.
Yep.
So apparently, my grandmother, who's always had a sense, my grandmother, I could tell you a million stories. She's always had like a sense about things. She'll prey on things and just know shit that she's never been told. She's always had like, I think there's some people in this world who have those kind of connections. My grandmother was one of them. So anyway, apparently I went to school one day and my grandmother came and she prayed over every single room. She like essentially cleansed every room of our house. She went and prayed, touched the door frame and prayed over every room. And then like a week went by and my mom was like, Alyssa, you haven't mentioned your friend. And I just very casually said, yeah, he said he couldn't visit me anymore. And I did not know. They did this when I was out of the house. So without knowing that my grandmother prayed over these rooms, just out of nowhere, I said, yeah, he said, and that's how I described it. He said he couldn't visit me anymore. So
your grandma's
may
a
have had a
powerful
demon best
exorcist.
friend.
Now,
That's kind
knows?
of cool.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate for just
Yeah.
a second. No pun intended. No pun intended. Could this be a conspiracy between your grandmother and your mother to keep little Alyssa as a sheep of the flock for as long as possible? And
That's how it starts, right?
That's how it started.
In
How
a
old
way.
I
were
mean,
you?
Alyssa,
Like I said, I was
know,
3 or 4.
I
3 or
know
4 years old.
the religious background that you come from, so I would not be surprised that somebody like that could be.
What were you
something
doing
like
at
that.
3 or 4 that scared them so bad? Drugs?
But see, no, this was a story that they told me later when I was like a teenager. So
Yeah, when you were
to
starting to
Dalton's
become
point,
rebellious and you
Yeah.
were old enough to understand the ramifications. Like, oh yeah, by the way, Alyssa, you used to talk to demons. Don't skip school. Don't do drugs. Don't have premarital sex.
Also, have fun at your senior year in college. You're 21, and we're still doing it.
the ages are mathematic.
Nah.
I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, I was a goody little two shoes, so I don't really think
what
they
would a
needed any
Yeah,
worries.
rebellious
You were
Alyssa would have
threatened
done?
with a
Also,
demon.
very quick story. My grandmother, she saw her brother the day he passed away. She's always told us that story growing up. Like she woke up while she was sleeping and she saw her brother, who was estranged. I'm not going to get into my family drama, but let's just say they had a lot of beef. My grandmother and her brother were not speaking for years. And for some reason, she said she woke up and he seemed to be at the foot of her bed and he was kind of trying to say it like, I'm sorry. And that was kind of the dream she had. And she woke up and she was much younger than her brother. So she was still living with her parents. She woke up, told her parents like, hey, did brother come home last night? And they're like, no. And she's like, weird. I saw him in my room. And then they got the call that he had passed away. So she's been very convinced that was him trying to make amends for their
Okay.
falling out.
I don't know who. Maybe this is a popular story among people, but I have a story exactly like that.
Oh, yeah?
I've heard multiple stories from people, yeah.
Yeah?
Or
Maybe
maybe
what's
that's
yours,
just
Mike?
what happens.
Maybe this is just a
that's
common
thing.
fucking thing then.
Yeah.
My great uncle Chester, when he died, that's right, I have a great uncle Chester. It's a silly name.
Love it. So his
You
whole
look like a
story's
great
fake.
Uncle Chester.
No, I have a great uncle Chester. Died before I was born. And anyway, he was in the hospital, dying. And different places in the city, my mom saw my great uncle Chester. What?
The way you worded that. Dalton and I both looked at
I tried not
He was
to
in the
laugh.
hospital, dying.
laugh.
Tried
Just
not to
laugh.
laugh.
He was in the hospital on vacation. You're right. That was dumb. He was in the hospital, actively
I'm so
dying.
sorry. Talk about your dying family member.
Yeah,
See
talk
what
about
laughed.
great
I don't know the guy. Great Uncle Chester. He was dying. He appeared in front of my mom, and he appeared in front of my uncle, and he was dying in the hospital, and then they got the call. My mom is a very, spiritual, believes in spirits kind of person, too, She was raised Christian. She believes in ghosts and stuff. I don't. So maybe that's just a thing.
Or maybe that's something you actually get to do as you're dying.
As you're dying.
Maybe your energy can move and
You get
say
to
goodbye
say,
to
hey,
people.
hey, guess what?
I hope so,
I'm going to
man.
die in a second. Peace. And then you just fade out like a Force ghost.
Yeah, they kind of just show up as holograms,
Yeah.
it sounds like. They don't say anything usually.
Mike, I'm going to let you know right now, if you die before me, you don't have to come visit me.
I'm going to visit you.
I don't.
Like, I'm
What do you mean
great.
if? What do you mean if?
I guess
I'm going to haunt your house. You're
I think
going to
we
be my
should-
unfinished business.
We should make a Midnight's Club pact.
Where they're all dying, so I watched
they-
the first episode and
They all
No,
make
no,
they
no,
all
no,
make a
no.
pact that if they pass away, they need to prove it. If there's like an afterworld,
Right,
if there's like
that's right,
you need
that's
to
right.
prove
Yeah.
to everyone else that you need to send a message. So let's
What
make
would your
that pact
message
right
be?
now.
What would your message be?
depends on the person I'm saying it to.
Say
it's-
you're telling me that there's an afterlife. How would you send that signal?
I'd be like, bro, there's an afterlife.
Yeah. There's an afterlife and it's too late for you, but I'm just warning you.
I'd
it's
be
gonna
like,
suck
"Dad?"
for you.
So wait, what about you guys? Where do you land on the ghost rule?
Piggybacking off of Alyssa's while we're in the realm of hell,
Yeah.
I also was raised and brought up to be very scared of demons. I remember at one point I was playing alone in my room and with toys, and I was making heroes versus like devils. It was just purely innocent. I wasn't following like the Bible, the biblical devil. It was just a generic evil guy with horns. And my mom had heard me playing like that. So later she comes into my room and sits me down and says, Andrew, I know you're just having fun, but by playing like that, you could be inviting demons into your
See?
room.
And
And I went, really? Oh, shit. So I thought I was like opening a portal to hell in my room for like weeks. I would just like pray at night, please close the portal. I was just playing. I didn't mean it. So yeah, I totally get being scared. I still don't like demon movies to this day. even.
No.
I like a good horror movie, but if it's demon related, I gotta at least watch it with other people.
It scares me,
I'm
for sure.
much more scared, and this will tell you where I land on superstition. I'm much more scared of horror movies that are just like one crazy guy going ballistic on some people, one weird loner,
Like a realistic thing.
Like
Yes.
like a stalker
I-
or
that
a
could
serial
happen to you.
killer.
Yeah.
a ghost, a demon. I'm not phased. It could be the scariest image you could conjure. I mean, I'm interested. It's cool. I'm enjoying the movie, but I'm not.
There's no
scared.
lingering fear.
No chill to the bone. Yeah, I'm more disturbed
Yeah.
by what people are capable of.
For sure,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I've never
Versus-
known anybody who's been killed by a ghost.
Yeah, but versus like you said, versus us, if I watch like a movie about a serial killer, I don't know, my brain is like, oh, I'll just take precaution. But like you
can't take precaution.
I can take more precautions than I can against a demon.
Not if you're Sharon Tate.
true.
Lock doors.
Tell her and her
Get in.
and her grave. And her unborn baby. No, but dude, like, don't you agree? I mean, how often have you been walking down the street in the middle of the night and you've been afraid of a ghost? No,
Valid
you're much
point.
more
Not in the
likely
street.
to be
The only time that I'm afraid of ghosts is when the lights are off in the house and I have to go upstairs and I have to go super fast so that the ghost doesn't catch
Yeah,
me.
so they don't touch you.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
or
The stairs
when
demon.
Yeah.
one foot slips out from under the covers when I'm in bed at night, and that's how they paranormal activity me out of the room. So
As we all know, ghosts cannot touch you if you're under the covers.
it's correct. That's why
So-
everybody
It's
hides under
true.
the covers. Can't get there unless you're Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Then you're SOL. But
He
that's
can
neither here
pull
nor
the
there.
sheets
Yeah.
off.
Speaking of history, I kind of have the opposite thing where I know there was something terrible that happened, and yet the house wasn't scary. And that house is the house I'm in right now.
Yay.
I just
can't go.
That's
I can't
fun.
go into detail about what happened here on the air because Laura, my wife, does not want to know,
Oh.
and I told her
Oh.
I would never tell her. But back in like the 40s, something horrible happened here. I looked it up in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. My address, mistake.
like an
The
embezzlement.
first week
or
I
something?
moved here. Oh
Yeah,
no,
tax evasion.
Yeah,
Racketeering?
Yep.
tax fraud.
Tax fraud. Yep.
Whatever
Yeah,
could
tax,
it be?
we'll call it tax fraud.
Tax
Horrific
fraud.
tax fraud.
I heard somebody tax frauded like their wife and then tax frauded themselves. Is that true? Like it was a tax fraud situation.
It's like a tax fraud me, I'll tax fraud you.
Yeah, something like that.
No, but I looked this up like the first week I lived here, and I was by myself because I actually had COVID, so I was home alone, and I was like, oh my god, I just moved into this haunted house. What in the fuck? Let's move as soon as possible.
Oh no.
And
You know why I
like,
think your house isn't scary? If I may posit an idea, I
Yeah.
think a house has to be old enough. Your
Well,
house
this
has
house is
wood
from the
paneling. Yeah, but it doesn't look old enough. It was like updated in the 70s. It has
Yeah,
like
sure.
that shitty wood paneling, and there's like fat chef curtains in your kitchen.
Well,
And
yeah,
black and
those
white
were
like
from the
tiles, like you're in a
40s, don't you
diner.
know? I had to make peace with it because I was like, look, I live here, and then I thought about like since that time there have been multiple families that have lived here and been fine. Like the people who lived here before us lived here almost 30 years. They raised their kids here. And I was like, you know what?
So no ghosts.
This house is okay, and I've never felt anything creepy or weird. So I think the creepy stuff that happens, there's a statute of limitations, maybe.
Oh, for sure.
you
maybe.
know? So I have
Maybe.
made peace with it, and if anything is here, we're roommates. It's cool.
Maybe that little fat lady from the Poltergeist came over and cleansed your house or something.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
What does she say? This house is clean, or whatever it is. do the thing.
I don't
Hold
know.
on, we have not heard from Dalton yet.
Jumping back to like encounters with ghosts and like, do you believe them or not? Yes, I do. I've had too many encounters growing up as a kid in various places, and then even in college with the house that we fucking lived in. So Andrew and I lived together in a house with 3 other guys. Mike and Alyssa were there all the time, and the house was haunted. Like full stop. Not even trying to make this up. The house.
I mean, I know you
was
guys
haunted.
would joke about it.
No, it was hot. Every single person that lived
Legit.
in that house had multiple encounters in various places of the house. And
Didn't you call
I
him
don't-
Joe Lowe's or something?
Joe Lowe, yeah, that was his affectionate nickname. But when we moved into the house, when we did the walkthrough, there was a ritual circle on
I
the
remember
floor of the
that.
basement.
Yes.
With various candles and a animal skull in the center. So automatically, bad juju, bad vibes.
Yeah.
And I never liked being in the basement by myself because
No.
I always felt like I was being watched.
Yep.
Being watched. So I didn't like being down there by myself. I barely ever did laundry because that's where the washer and the dryer were. But I had two separate encounters that will stay with me probably for the rest of my life. The first one was I was lying in bed, dead asleep, and all of a sudden just sat straight up in my bed. And it was like 3 a.m., which I know everybody says, oh, it's the witching hour. That's when things get creepy. But the door to my bedroom, and the 3 of you know that my bedroom at that house wasn't actually a bedroom. It was an office/library that got modded into a bedroom. And so instead of like a door with a handle, it had like 2 open, like swinging doors. They opened by themselves, very slowly, very creepy like. And sure, yeah, the doors swing open by themselves all the time. That's fine. What got me was that after about 5 or 6 seconds, they slowly close by themselves.
Ooh.
And then like I almost heard like the lock on my door's latch. Which I pulled the covers over my head. I was like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. Then, probably about 2 months or so later, I was sitting at the table in the dining room studying, which, shocker, I know I was actually studying. The door to the back patio flew open. So I got up, went over, closed it, and as soon as I sat down, the door to the stairs, which we usually kept closed, flew open. And so I got up and I closed the door, sat down. Probably 30 seconds or so later, the door handle started to shake, and then it flew open again.
No.
And so I
stairs
said,
door?
the stairs door. And I said, okay, if you want the doors open, we're going to leave the doors open. And I didn't try to close any more doors, and I didn't have any other issues for the rest of the night.
I lived up those stairs.
Yeah.
I
You
didn't
just
know. See,
allowed the ghost up to Andrew.
I didn't hear. I'm glad I don't remember hearing any of these stories at the time because I would have moved out. Jesus.
I remember your room, Dalton, because it was right next to like the front door, and your doors, your two doors, would be open all the time. It's not like they naturally would close on their own.
Right.
It's not like
Right.
you know how some doors will kind of start. No, they
Yeah.
if you open them
You
up,
have
they
to
would just
line
stay.
them up because there's just a little latch in the
Yep.
middle.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, it was hard to close them at the same time. You really had to like
Yeah.
make effort. So the fact that they closed on their own and latched is weird.
That is
Yep.
creepy.
Yep. Tell me about it.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
I had a great time tonight.
Me too.
Most girls aren't into the whole interspecies reptile dating thing.
I'm not like most girls. How about a kiss?
Oh, shit! Not again!
Hot date getting a little too hot?
I think she's dead for sure. Oh, and it's past her curfew? Her dad's gonna kill me.
Should have popped a Dragon Frost breath mint. With just one Dragon Frost mint, your sizzling breath becomes as cool as a winter's breeze, ensuring your kisses and heavy whispers are warm, but not third-degree burns warm.
Wow, these are delicious. And look, no flames.
And it's got a liquid nitrogen peppermint core for extra fresh fire protection. Also comes in spearmint. Oh my god! My daughter is a pile of ashes!
I'm so sorry, sir. It was an accident. She said I could kiss her. Wait. My breath smells good.
Wow, that is fresh. All is forgiven. You want to come inside and watch some sports? I've got another daughter.
I can't fit through the door. Have a good night, Mr. Peterson.
Nice kid. And boy, did he smell good. Hey, hon, could you bring the shovel?
Sometimes the coolest thing a dragon can do is not set everything on fire. So pick up a pack of Dragon Frost breath mints before your next date, and make sure the only flames are flames of passion. Keep the spark alive, but keep it cool with Dragon Frost breath mints. Last time on Dungeon Radio Hour.
He called Dalton a conduit.
Jeff,
You're alive.
Mike,
What are you doing
Andrew,
here, dude?
How are we gonna break out of here? Did you come across a Nori yet? If she's got Dalton and that's who you're looking for, let's go kill her and find your friend and stop this whole thing.
Door swings open. Is Honora. Like whatever is about to come her way, she isn't gonna fight it. You see her eyes flash, and she leans in and whispers into your ear.
And I used the head of the spider's staff on myself.
You may have dispelled the magic, but that oil wasn't magic.
As her skin becomes black and charred.
I don't know how I know this. Mike's gone.
I don't want to leave him though.
I don't know. Revivify. I mean, where are we gonna get a diamond right now?
Mike! And on either side of this long, narrow hallway are 5 test tube-like structures.
Girl, I knew you would find me.
This is cool.
Whoa, okay, my god does exist. Because look, it's a horse god, man.
Welcome to my dreams, guys. Oh, she was showing me that our friends and our family are waiting on the other side in our world.
Her glass cylinder raises up and she kind of falls down onto the floor. You find yourself standing atop the Mad Mage's obsidian tower. Laying out on a stone altar is the shape of a humanoid bird, and hovering is the beaten and bruised body of your friend, Dalton. Never trust a wizard.
You know, he's got a point, Dad.
Going into this episode, you had your flashback in the last episode. You freed Razmataz. You opened the doors to this final battleground. You found 9 large swirling portals out in front of you. Arnold dead, down on a stone altar. Dalton suspended by magic and unconscious up above him. And the last thing that Arnold said to you was never trust a wizard, before hearing a very familiar voice laugh in the background.
Jeff, what did you do?
what did I do? Listen, you three. I'm gonna give you one chance. I've tried to make friends with you. I've tried playing nice. I've invited you over. I tried to bring you into my little world, but you resisted every step of the way. I didn't need all four of you. In fact, only one was supposed to come through the portal that day. And I already have him. So what use are you?
Jeff, this isn't funny.
I don't think it's funny. Alyssa, I don't think it's funny. I think he's serious. I think...
Then again, his kids died. We saw their graves.
That's right. My sister did die, as did I. But thankfully, my mother was a powerful necromancer and was able to bring me back in this form.
What?
You're saying you're the kids? You're one of the kids? Oh, yes. Or at least I was, though not in this pathetic, weak body.
The gems.
After I was killed in my original, this was the only one my mother was able to successfully implant my soul in. I'm ready for the new model now.
Wait, so Bennigan wasn't the only one that your mom experimented on?
Oh, yes. Dad was just the first successful trial. You see, she thought her magic would work on my younger sister, but it didn't take. She didn't survive, and there was no bringing her back. And then my mother got father to volunteer, if you can call it that. He was quite resistant every step of the way, and when his succeeded, she was able to use another child to hold my soul. And then she sent me to live with my aunt until the time came.
So your aunt was a part of all this?
Oh, yes, she was at first. You know, when I went to live with her as a child, she would tell me stories of the Mad Mage. And I always thought it was so cool. So cool, in fact, that I thought maybe I could one day be the Mad Mage. But of course, I needed quite a bit more magical power for that. She was willing to help me to a point, but as soon as she started asking too many questions and putting up resistance, I took care of her.
So no, Honora wasn't a part of this. She was just trying to help you fulfill some fantasy she thought was innocent, and then it turned out you had these fucking maniacal aspirations, and you killed Arnold. You killed your father.
And you used us.
I'm sorry you died, Jeff, but do you have any fucking idea what you've done?
Oh, yes I do. Look around you. Your friend Dalton's up there. And once again, he's the only one I came for. Now keep in mind, I could have had you all three killed from the very beginning.
Yeah, we met you in the caves.
Yeah. Do you know how easy it would have been to send you to the lower planes of hell, huh? Or better yet, I could have closed that first portal and cut you in half. But I thought, hey, they're actually not so bad. They look me in the eye when they talk to me. Maybe they'll like me. So, was I right or was I wrong?
Why would you think we would like you, Jeff?
You have our friend hanging in the air.
You took us from our world and brought us here to what? Kill our friend Dalton? And you tricked us this whole time?
You ripped us away from our families, Jeff. They think we're dead.
Cut me a break! I could have had you three killed from the very beginning. I told you...
Oh, and we're supposed to thank you for that?
I'd like a little thanks. I could have created my portal and sliced you in half, and that would have been that. But I thought maybe we could be friends. But I guess not. I guess I was wrong about that, wasn't I?
Well, friends don't want to kill other friends, Jeff. Why would we have trusted you this whole time? You have been lying to us. You have kept us here. You have left us abandoned, lost. You have been selfish.
That sending stone phone, have you been just listening to us all the time too?
Yeah.
Okay, see what I mean? Like, why the fuck would we like you, Jeff?
That's fine. That's fine. You guys can have your opinions, and I can have mine. And that's, you know what? That's fine. I'm used to rejection. I've got a whole lifetime of it. But guess what, you three? That stops here. Who's gonna be able to reject the most powerful wizard in the Forgotten Realms? Who will be able to say no to Jeff? Oh, Jeffy, poor innocent little nervous Jeffy. Well, Jeffy isn't so innocent and nervous now, is he? I stand up and point my finger guns at this guy. You killed my bird, you son of a bitch. And I blast a finger blasty firebolt at Jeff's head.
I take out my Charmeleon sword, and it just erupts in flames, and I take a swing at Jeff. We're not gonna let that happen, Jeff.
Blade Ward, ha! Bitch, you liked me the least, huh? Well, now you're hitting me the least, and he shoves you back with a force push.
I was fucking right about you, Jeff. I take a stab into his stomach.
Another Blade Ward for you. Go on, keep trying. Alyssa, what about you? Go ahead, shoot your rainbow magic from your stupid little horse, this pathetic little unicorn. I'm waiting. Let's see what you got, girl.
I take out my wand and drop it on the ground in front of him, and I raise my hands up. Jeff, I get it. You've been alone. You have felt isolated. But you don't need a new body. Look at how much you've done with this one. You don't need to prove anything anymore to anybody.
Don't you think I've taken it this far for a reason? You think I'm gonna let you convince me not to do it now? Are you gonna try something or not? Because I'm getting really sick of all this talk. Jeff casts hold person on all three of you. Now, one thing you don't seem to understand is that I am talking now, and you're just gonna listen. Oh, you too, unicorn. Oh, how you doing up there, floating friend? Oh, still floating, just as I planned. When you're whistling down a happy road and nobody can touch your soul, it's a skip and a hop and a jump away to a happy place. You know, guys, it's hard. I'm pretty tired, but I can finally rest. It's just been so much work to get to this point. Keeping all these portals open, dealing with the fallout of the worlds merging together, something I didn't quite foresee. Enthralling my own aunt to do my bidding for me. Well, it was the only way I could control the shop and all the funds and supplies I needed to build this marvelous facility here. Oh, you haven't really taken a look, have you? Look around. Oh, right, you can't. Here, I'll help. And then, and you can hear like our necks crack as Jeff makes us all look up and around the room. Look around you. Look what I've built. You know, my aunt never really appreciated this place. And like I said, she understood it first, but she was starting to grow wary of my plan. But luckily, controlling her pathetic old body wasn't too hard. I mean, I'm the greatest wizard of the Forgotten Realms, don't you know? I've been telling you all that from the very beginning. So, thanks for taking care of her, by the way. You know, I mean, she's my aunt after all. I controlled her. It doesn't mean I wanted to kill her myself. I'm not a psychopath. Rest in peace, Anna Nora. And rest in peace, Dad. So much heartbreak in this world, huh? But it's all been worth it to keep you all off my trail while I put the final pieces in place. And who knew? The 3 lumbering idiots that were never meant to come here would be the perfect ones to tie up my loose ends. Speaking of loose ends, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Jeff calmly strolls over to Arnold's body and, without any decorum or respect, holds his hand over Arnold, casts Mage Hand, and the glowing hand plunges into Arnold's chest and rips out a dimly glowing ruby. The soul ruby. The one capable of holding the power of a conduit. And once I've placed this ruby into your friend's body, I become the conduit. Oh, by the way, thank you all so much for delivering the ruby to me on a feathered platter. I mean, honestly, who knew when I sent you to the swamp for my mother to kill you, you would instead kill her and at the same time restore my father to his original body with this? Or at least close enough to his original body. Jeff kicks Arnold's body on the ground. And now that I have this, I hope you all don't mind. I'm gonna go hang out with your friend Dalton. Ruby stolen from a dragon's hoard. I wield you now like a soldier's sword. Gem like fire, burning bright. Bind this soul with all your might. Ruby stolen.
Mike, Andrew, and Alyssa, as you watch Jeff begin to recite this incantation, his body almost seems to vibrate as the ruby begins to float up above his head in between Dalton and himself. With a sudden burst of energy, Jeff's soul bursts forward in this mote of light and slowly enters into the ruby. And as it enters into the ruby, it begins to pulse with life. Jeff's original body, that red, curly-headed, glasses-wearing little twig, crumples down into a heap on the floor as the ruby floats closer and closer before slowly entering into Dalton's chest. Dalton's head rears back and he lets out an anguished scream as he slowly lowers down from his magical chains. And as he slowly lowers down, there is a small mote of light that rises up above him and away from all of you.
That feels good. Hey, it's me, your friend Dalton. You guys finally found me. Nah, it's actually Jeff. Yeah! And he releases hold person on us. No.
Jeff!
You're not
Dalton,
gonna get away with this, Jeff.
Dalton, are you in there? Where's Dalton? He's right here. Don't you see? Oh yeah, look at these biceps. Look at these quads. Oh my God, it feels so good. It feels so good to be out of that little body.
Get
Wow.
out of him.
You know what? I don't think that Dalton would mind if I did this. And I just take a haymaker right to fucking Jeff's face.
Give me a D6.
God damn it.
One whole hit.
Oh yeah, one for, and whatever my bonus for strength is. I don't know.
Okay, cool. So we'll say it's 3. So you rear back with a haymaker and you let loose with all of the anger that you have in this moment and the hatred that has been building of and for Jeff. And you hit him square across that chiseled jaw as Jeff reacts and immediately comes back to face you.
Ow! Ow!
I don't let up. I just keep punching. Get out of our friend, Jeff!
You do so. You land blow after blow after blow after blow.
Jeff, realizing this hurts, none of the protective wards are set up.
I cast hold person.
We're not gonna let you get away with this.
Jeff's eyes glow purple as he sort of like resists it. Is there like a contested check Jeff can do against Alyssa?
You can cast counterspell, or you can do a wisdom check
saving.
if you beat her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a wisdom saving throw. So yeah, Andrew, give me a wisdom
15
saving
for Jeff.
I guess that beats me.
Yeah, so Jeff's eyes like turn violet for a moment as he rebounds the hold person. It doesn't quite hold the group, but it knocks them all three back with force.
throw. Yes.
This new body is powerful, but it's not. It needs a little time. Or just a little help. And he looks down at Razzles on the ground, who is still weakened, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you'd be the most powerful magical being that I captured, but I was wrong. You've been a horn in my side this whole time, unicorn. And he reaches down and grabs the unicorn horn and pulls her up by the horn all the way to the chest of the ruby, and a glowing energy comes in his hand, and he is essentially draining the healing forces from this unicorn's horn into Dalton's body.
Jeff, let go of her.
Almost there.
No, let go. Just shut up. Shut up! And I cast silence.
Alyssa, as you cast silence, this translucent sphere of heavy, dark magic surrounds Razzles and Jeff, immediately enveloping them in a void of sound.
Jeff kind of realizes what's happening. The last bit of energy flows out of the horn, and he just kind of drops Razzles.
I run over to Razzles and I protect her with my own body, looking up at Jeff.
Meanwhile, Jeff feels so fucking good right now. He is essentially just kind of walked a few feet away, meandering, looking at his hands, looking at his new body, and just feeling the energy course through his veins. And he, for the first time, he now realizes just how powerful Dalton really was. Dalton, are Mike and I, Andrew and Mike, are we in the cone of silence, or are we sort of outside of that bubble?
You would be, so the way I envision it is Jeff pushed the three of you away. Alyssa cast silence on Jeff and Razzles, which were far enough away from you that you were fine. Jeff is still in the silence. Alyssa is now in the silence because she ran up to cradle Razzles. So you and Mike are still outside of it.
I also yell out, Jeff, stop this! And then I realize I can't hear anything going on. Mike, I think when Alyssa yelled shut up, it did something. What are we going to do? What are we going to do right now? Come on, we got to take a shot.
Okay, you can't hear any... Silence actually silences the person vocally? Is that...
It silences any vocal sound so that you can't cast spells with your voice.
We're outside of it, so we can hear each other.
Yes,
we can hear each other.
It says, for the duration, no sound can be created within or pass through the 20-foot radius sphere.
Okay.
You guys are outside the sphere.
Yeah. So we can cast magic outside of the sphere. So what do we have? Oh, I have True Strike, so I can tee you up with something.
I also have Hunter's Mark, dude. So we could both, you cast your True Strike, I could cast my Hunter's Mark, which I've never cast before. We could get a double lock on him.
Yeah.
You know? Okay,
I cast True Strike, and what do I have weapon-wise that I haven't used? I have a crossbow I never use. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, cool.
So you'll do crossbow. I'll do water bow, I guess.
Andrew, put it right between his fucking eyes. I raise my crossbow, and I just eye it up, and just let loose a bolt right at Jeff's face.
Perfect. Mike, as you line up that bolt aiming for Jeff, you are unwittingly casting True Strike as you do so. And as you are lining up the sight, there seems to be this translucent red target that seems to come up on Jeff magically as you are lining up the shot. And once you find your mark right in between the eyes, you let loose, and that bolt flies as straight as you could possibly want it to. Give me a roll to hit.
Fuck! I rolled a 1.
I
rolled a 1.
Damn it. Okay.
Oh, no.
Andrew, go ahead and explain to me what you're doing, or tell me what you want to do.
I also, hearing Mike say hit him right between the eyes, I have a spell that I've never cast. I've had it since pretty much the beginning. Sorry, audience. I would like to inadvertently cast Hunter's Mark on Jeff. So I just get a rage within me, seeing Arnold, seeing Dalton standing in front of me, who I know is not Dalton, and my eyes lock on him, and I just kind of make an outline in my brain of Jeff, and I'm zeroed in, and I draw my water ice bow back, and I'm aiming for the ruby itself.
Cool. So you do so. You draw your bowstring back, and that arrow of solidified water begins to form against the bowstring, and you let loose that arrow. And as you let loose that arrow, and you are casting Hunter's Mark, you see this brand in the shape of an A just kind of start to appear and burn over Jeff's right eye. And it's there for just a few moments before it leaves again. but you can still see it there, almost like it's a mark that only you can see. And as your arrow flies through the air, it becomes solidified and it turns into ice. And it gets closer and closer to Jeff. Mike, your bolt gets caught in Jeff's hand right as it gets to him. And he begins to taunt you. And in that moment that he begins to taunt you, even though you can't hear what he is saying, he slips. And that concentration breaks. Andrew's arrow flies through and hits him in the shoulder, missing its original mark as Jeff realizes at the last instant that he still needs to play defense. And as that arrow hits and it creates a shiny, icy patch where it impacts. Everybody roll for initiative.
Well, things are getting a little spicy on Jeff Radio Hour, aren't they? Stopping on roll for initiative? I mean, come on. Why even continue from there? We all know the story's gonna go like this. Jeff wins the battle. The end. Ha-ha! See? Why even continue listening, am I right? We all know Mike, Alyssa, and Andrew are my best friends and would never actually hurt me. Of course they're gonna join me. The roll for initiative thing was just for dramatics, theatrics, right? In reality, they're already on my side, and I'm still working on that part. But I hope you're on my side too, listeners. Join me. Look, we're coming up on the end of the season. Consider this your last warning. If I can steal Dalton from Earth, I can steal each and every one of you. So just join me. Jesus, just join. And join the Patreon, by the way. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/Dungeon Radio Hour. Okay? There's a whole separate podcast called Jeffcast on there, where you can get my deepest, darkest thoughts. I guess you'll have to find out for yourself. Be sure and tune in for the next episode on, let's see, what is this stupid Earth calendar? March 19th. Or maybe I'll see you sooner than you think. But I won't if you join me, if you just join me. These are empty threats, if you join me. If you don't, they're real threats. Well, that's all I got for now, folks. Until next time, keep the volume up, the dial tuned in, and always say yes to becoming my servants. And adventure. Bye for now, kids. Join me.
Pause this. Okay. Refresh my memory. Why did Arnold's kids die to begin with? I don't remember that.
They were just
They
sick.
were attacked by bandits out in the woods.
Attacked by bandits, not a sickness.
Okay.
I haven't had a case of attacked by bandits. Okay, great. So they were attacked by bandits, and why did the witch die? Bandits?
The witch died because you killed her.
That's true. Good point.
That.
Was Arnold also killed by bandits?
Arnold was killed by Jeff.
Originally, why was he put into...
Arnold was turned into a bird.
Arnold was
So he
turned
wasn't put
into
into
a bird.
He was just the test run.
He
of
was put into a bird's body just to see if you could transfer a soul into another body.
Yeah.
Correct.
Human was
Okay,
harder.
you could see how the audience would lose track of this. I'm just trying to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were
Good
testing
to
it
know.
on
I
a
think
bird
the audience
first.
is a little bit more plugged in than you are. No offense, buddy.
That's true.
That's very true.
That's